As Ben Franklin once said, those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. He has the same beliefs as one of our founding fathers, and his name is Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden is a patriot who showed the unlawful nature of our government. He helped people realize that their privacy has been violated and their government does not trust them. He took a stand against the U.S. government when he leaked the information about how the U.S. government was watching us. We are proving that not only he's not a spy for another country, but a hero for the American people. Edward Snowden was born and raised in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, to Wendy and Lonnie Snowden. On May 17th of 2004, Edward Snowden had enlisted in the U.S. Special Forces to defend his country in the literal sense. Unfortunately, he ended up breaking both of his legs in training. After that, he landed a job as a cybersecurity guard at the University of Maryland, where he defended a top-secret project. Following that job, he became a CIA agent and then an NSA agent. He wanted to defend his country now the only way that he could. He created programs for the CIA that were supposed to protect American citizens from terrorists and prevent terrorist attacks like 9/11. Unfortunately, the United States government had misused these programs and were using them to track everyone that they could, including American citizens. When he looked further into this, he realized that the United States were tracking its own citizens twice as much as they were tracking anyone else in the world. When he found this out, he realized that it was wrong, and he had to do something about it. So he went to China, where he was in contact with an author from The Guardian named Glenn Greenwald, as well as a filmmaker named Laura Poitras. This caused new protections for the United States and abroad for the rights to make sure that they were no longer being violated. Edward Snowden. He also went to Russia shortly after to get a flight to Ecuador when the United States decided to terminate his passport, thus being stranded in Russia. When he realized what was happening, he said, "I'm willing to sacrifice my former life because I can't in good conscience allow the U.S. government to destroy privacy, internet freedom, and basic liberties for people around the world with this mass surveillance machine they are secretly building." When asked about returning to the United States, Edward said that he would be willing to return to the United States if he were to get a fair trial, because he felt the jury would see him as a Russian spy and throw him in prison for life. When asked about the charges pending against him, Snowden stated, "Yes, there are laws on the books that say one thing, but perhaps that is why the pardon power exists. For the exceptions, for the things that may seem unlawful in letters on a page, but when we look at them morally, when we look at them ethically, when we look at the results, it seems that these were necessary things. It seems that these were vital things."
Edward Snowden took a stand by pointing out that the government was breaking the laws that they set down when they founded the country in the name of its citizens. When President Obama was asked about Edward Snowden, he stated, "This is an important conversation to have. The way this closure has happened has been damaging to our intelligence capability. This shows that the very President of the United States is completely avoiding the subject." He realized that the government were breaking their own laws due to the Fourth Amendment, which states, "The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized." He found that the United States government was illegally using and viewing its citizens' information without a warrant. Snowden only tried to show us this, but the government thought that it was espionage. Second, he is justified under the Whistleblower Protection Act of 1989, or the WPA, which states, protects federal government employees in the United States from retaliatory action for voluntarily disclosing information about dishonest or illegal activities occurring at a government organization. This means that because he worked for the NSA and CIA when he released these documents, he cannot face retaliatory action because of it. Lastly, he is again justified under our own Declaration of Independence, which states, "But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty, to throw off such government, and provide new guards for their future security." This shows that the government are hypocrites, because they are pursuing everyone all the time for the same reason, and after that they pursue the person who only pointed out that they were hypocrites. Yes, we understand that we need cybersecurity, and that cybersecurity protects us from hackers and cyber terrorists, but who would want to hurt or steal from innocent people? But at what cost does it invade with our freedom? When we try to protect everyone, you forget exactly what you're trying to protect them from. How does this make the United States different from a dictatorship, like Russia, for example, when the United States government is breaking their own rules so they can illegally do whatever they want? A couple of other people who have also blown the whistle on a giant scale. One example is W. Mark Felt. After a break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters in the Watergate complex, Washington Post reporters Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein uncover ties between the break-in and the White House. Anonymous source Deep Throat gives reporters information that eventually leads to President Nixon's resignation. In 2005, Deep Throat is revealed to be W. Mark Felt, former associate director of the FBI. Another example is Daniel Ellsberg, who released the Pentagon Papers to show that the government lied to Congress and the United States citizens about their intentions in Vietnam. These whistleblowers are no different from Edward Snowden, who only told the American people the terrible actions their government were and are doing. Edward Snowden created programs to protect us from cyber terrorists, and the government abused these programs to view everyone instead of targeting these terrorists. So we took these files and showed the American people what their government was doing and that it was wrong. He did this to protect the rights that all Americans have that are stated in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. People usually view Edward Snowden as a spy, but he has been protecting us throughout his entire adult life, whether in a literal sense in the military or protecting us with cybersecurity. He has always been trying to protect us from a government that has abused their power on many occasions. The same government that has given up its liberties in order to have a grasp at safety, so they neither deserve liberty nor safety.